Thank you very much. What a wonderful moment we just witnessed. Let me share with you, first of all, a few rules of thumb that is basically the result of my last 25 years in doing futuristic stuff. First of all, we lack visions of our future. Ladies and gentlemen, it is dangerous to become a prisoner of the present when the rules of the game are now changing so fast, and they are changing faster than ever. Second, I would argue, saying it like Bill Clinton very famously said, it's the economy stupid. Today, for the wellness industry, I would argue it's the business model stupid. So it's not, first of all, about the product, it's not about the services, it's much more about what is the overall business model that drives us into the future. And we lack also vision for the business model. The other point, the third point, I would say is, I'm a huge technological optimist, but I'm a human skepticist. If you look how powerful technology has become, and it gets even more, even while you're sitting here, technology is becoming more powerful than ever, while you stay as human beings at about the same level as when you started the conference. So we are weak, and technology becomes much more powerful, so I'm technologically optimist, but human, rather a skepticist. Keep in mind, with better technology than ever, we have artificial intelligence meeting natural stupidity. And this is quite a dangerous combination. And the fourth rule I want to share with you, we need better imagination. If you have no imagination of your future, you can't have a plan, you can't have a strategy, yet you can't put it into practice. And strong imagination means also we need strong nerves, not weak nerves. Weak nerves and weak imagination might lead to premature death in the wellness industry over the next years. So what is important? Important is just to look at technologies of happiness. When we look at the key questions for the wellness industry, what kind of tools, of technologies, of techniques are we going to develop over the next years? And this is just a look at history. You can always have the best basis of the Western world, which is, of course, the ancient Greeks, but this was only the good life for a small minority. Then we had all the world religions and everything, but religion meant you belong to something higher, you are not yourself. Religion means you have to suffer asceticism, things that a modernist want to change at all. What we see now, step by step, with ever more powerful technology, we have to embrace, we have to accept, we have a disposable human life ahead of us. Head, hand, and heart are now being reinvented step by step. So this means what we are, who we are, where we're going to, becomes now step by step more transparent. We know who we are. We know how we can change the world. And this will mean we will have continuously a new context of discovery. We discover who we are. We discover where we're going to. To put it in a nutshell, we can say we are moving to a much stronger consumer context. What happened in retail, what happened in media, will step by step happen in all other industries too. And education and health is the last industry to be modernized with new technology, as it is quite complex. But consumer context means, look at yourself and you're a retail consumer, expectations go up. We move away from fixing deficiencies, obeying experts, taking orders, towards opportunities of enhancement and unimaginable self-optimization. So the consumer context means easier access to products and services, much more personal choices, reasonable prices. Think of Amazon price, but only much, much better. So the old clinical context, the paradigms on the left side, might move. Treatment paradigms, premature death, are going to stand for the bad past as expectations go up very fast. A life that the famous British philosopher Thomas Hobbes once described as poor, nasty, brutish, and short. This will be over the next years. So what is the technologies of happiness that might emerge? Be clear. Until now, happiness depended on culture techniques and culture tools, and our nature was something given by biology. This was the past. So culture positively meant in the past inventing and experimenting with new lifestyles. And culture in that sense became even an art. Think of the wonderful l'art de vivre of the French. Or you can say also meditation is something wonderful, it is a lifestyle. But this always meant a very strong investment. It meant a huge human effort until you attained a certain goal, like suffering, asceticism, things that now can be viewed in a different way. It meant suffering, it meant investing a lot of time, and very often a lot of money, for example, when you wanted to seduce a beautiful woman. With ever more powerful tech, this dramatically opens up new opportunities. Think, please, always by a step-by-step approach to hack biology. We are moving now to the right side. Start with Caitlin Jenny, who changed gender, but this stayed always within the traditional frames of the limits, of traditional limits. As our nature becomes more transparent, we are about to hack biology, call it biohack. What does that mean? Brief examples. Biohacking scenes now emerge everywhere. Since birth, for example, Neil Harbison could only see the world in black, white, gray shades. Suffering of achromatopsia, meaning at age 20 he installed an iBorg, a cybernetic device with which one can see colors with the help of acoustic signals. So you can see colors with the help of acoustic signals. Or think Rob Reinhardt, who invented Soylent. We know that not a few percentage of people, but quite a lot of people think eating is a bug. So, like Rob, a lot of people don't like eating at all. It's true, I can understand it, but it's true. With his ready-to-consume drink, Soylent, he gives people a chance who want to opt out of regular daily eating patterns by making them more efficient and more convenient and independent, more consumer-like, more options, more choices. So basically, you're living your life with astronaut food. Or the next step could even be, if you can imagine that, eating the sun. So can humans be hacked to do photosynthesis and live without food even? We don't know yet, but it's a vision that we can achieve. Or even apply that to meditation. Consciousness technologies, Mickey Siegel suggests, I quote, "What if we disintermediate spirituality itself and redesign it for a modern secular world? What if tech that provided the benefit of 10,000 hours of meditation was as accessible as cell phones?" This is just a thought, but as technology improves all the time, it might become real over the next 15 years, and that's already very close. So we are merging the old world and the new world. We call it from Buddhism to data Buddhism. I talked about it a little bit last year already. So biohacking will be a shortcut to happiness. Think about it seriously. It is a paradigm change and the fulfillment of consumer centricity, more choice, more convenience, faster availability, and more efficient goal attainment. You need energy, but more efficient energy deployment may help you to even achieve something with lower energy investment. You might say Buddhism meant a lot of effort. Data Buddhism is instant gratification and instant happiness. That sounds dangerous, but it gives also for much more people instant access to new tools of happiness. So name me one consumer who is not expressing lust for easier access to happiness. Think about behavioral sciences, where we learn that we are still cognitive misers. Whenever we can outsource something to the machine, we do it happily. And so we see automation of many things we don't like to do on our own is going on very fast. So being lazy, being a cognitive miser, drives a lot of changes in the product of over the next years. So that data Buddhism might bring new realities and new laws. Keep in mind what famous Harvard Internet Law and Law professor Larry Messing mentioned in the year 2000, code is law. Very important, code is law. He who programs defines what is real and what is law. So those who aggregate the data, they are in the driver's seat right now. But who is defining all these rules of the game in the next few years? How does it work? Compare the future of wellness and biohacking happiness to the strongest industry, most successful industry of the 20th century, the car industry. Ladies and gentlemen, think about the business models. Do you believe in 2030 that traditional providers of cars like GM or Volkswagen or Toyota are still the ones that are the most famous brands? Or do you think the Teslas, the Amazons, the Apples, the Ubers are becoming much stronger because they own all the data and process the data? Or might it even be very strong suppliers? We don't know yet, probably Continental or Bosch, or even a name that is unknown today, because 10 years from now, if you think 10 years back, there's so many things we have even not in mind. So again, imagination, strong imagination, and good nerves is very, very important. So with data Buddhism, we are moving towards, this is the analogy to the wellness industry, predictive maintenance. As for cars, we're going to identify future pain points and get an update with better software when we check in at the garage for maintenance work. Just, we need to think in analogies and in metaphors. So what does that mean for the future business models that might be of importance to all of us, but we don't have yet figured out what it means for you individually? Towards 2030, we will approach data wellness, and software eats basically wetware. It's important to understand that data is the next step of software. It's basically step-by-step the wetware, because with machine learning and algorithms, we have better insights in real time than ever before, and we learn faster than ever before. So software eats wetware, data eats biology. What are the key products? Very important. Look at the left side. What are the key products of the wellness industry? What is the USP? Who can define, most important probably, the key interface between you and your customers? What are the pricing models behind that? Who are the key players? Still the same or completely different ones? And what are the interventions are moving us towards the next level? So we might say, going a little bit deeper into the business model, pay as you live. Business models in a consumer-centric world will be developed about pay as you live. See what's going on in the insurance business right now. We already move towards pay as you use. You pay your policy in accordance to how you drive, how much you drive, and how far you drive. If data are the new currency, we need appropriate measurements and scoring meters. As tracking gets smarter, ubiquitous, and basically everywhere available, recording calorie intake, daily movements you make, fitness levels, and so on, we pay for what we do or we don't do. So scoring models would influence the wellness industry like it changed on a very basic level only, the airline industry and the retail industry. Probably you know in China you have already a social score level, a credit score, where you get points and you can release it, retrieve it and release it and be rewarded for appropriate behavior. This is just the beginning, and I think all these models are going to be very fascinating. One example, data selfies. Ladies and gentlemen, we live now in a selfie world. I'm not kidding, more people died last world while taking selfies than by shark attacks. Look at the younger generation. Today, 94% of the younger generation that puts posts on Facebook, 94%, they take regularly selfies and show who they are, what they are. But these are quite romantic aspects of the selfies. Look at the selfies, how machines see us, how improved machine learning will provide the basic data for better insights and self-control. So photo selfies on Facebook only present the outer layer of a person, but data selfies reflect our biological and emotional inner life, biorhythms, movements, and relationships. Meaning, our inner life gets more transparent, feelings of sympathy, stress, boredom, fear become clear in real time. So contrary to the photo selfie, we can now literally see our hidden self, our hidden side, understand step by step better our body language, and step by step visualizes that if you can't see it, imagine it, you have no clue what's going on. But with better visualization, you can also imagine what's going on. This will help us to grasp our emotional household and our relationship to friends and families in much deeper, exciting new ways. But we must also acknowledge that we have what we call the paradox of knowledge. This is good news for new businesses, faster new solutions, faster new services, but the paradox, here it comes, lies in the following. More and faster answers, better evidence-based, science-based, data-based solutions lead also faster to much more new and exciting questions we don't know yet. So the gap will go up. As we have more evidence-based knowledge, more knowledge-based basis knowledge, on the other side, we will also have increasingly more new questions about who we are, where we are going to do, and what we want to do with our lives. So on one side, again, wellness gets more evidence-based, and on the other side, it is more belief-based also. We had a workshop this morning for the issue about fake news and fake wellness and things like that. Our entanglement, and I see it on a positive side, with magic and surprise, gets bigger and bigger. Look at the past. Telescopes and microscopes expanded not only what we knew, but what we didn't know. So they allowed us to spy into our ignorance. Ladies and gentlemen, guess what do Americans believe in 2030 when today 2/3 of Americans believe that angels and demons are active in the world? Only 1/3 of Americans strongly disbelieve in telepathy and ghosts. And over 50% are absolutely certain that heaven and a personalized God exists, meaning not a wake force or a universal spirit or a higher power, but a real guy behind it or a woman behind it. And still don't accept global warming by 1/3, and 1/4 of Americans believe in witches. Very funny. So this might not go away so fast. What are the conclusions? First of all, I think a new age of self-extension is about to start. Tech means give us a 6th sense, or probably even a 7th sense, or an 8th sense. Imagine if your shoes, your clothes can read us like our e-books or our smartphone. Conventional feedback surveys will become obsolete. So tracking data and biofeedbacks are much more honest, much more precise, and much faster. We have to get sort of ready to accept that, because more transparency means also it shows us that we are quite weak as human beings. We are more emotional than rational when we act. We always overestimate our rational side and underestimate how we are basically very emotional and socially driven people. So this is the list of the conclusions. You will have the whole study downloaded. We are doing together with the Global Wellness Institute. I guess in January it will be ready. You see here just the conclusions. I leave it to you to read it, to go back to silence. Then we're running out of time. I do thank you very much, and I wish you all the best.